Hi guys! So we have something pretty different here today, which I'm now noticing I say before almost every video now, but that's okay. We're here to have fun. So this is another Monster High focused video, which I'm sure you've noticed, but with the new reboot coming up, the Haunt Couture dolls and everything, I thought it would be fun to do my own take on Monster High. Essentially, if I was in charge of designing the next generation, starting with our favorite main trio, Frankie, Draculaura, and Clawdeen. And I've never really done a video like this, a very art-focused one. I'm not even entirely sure what it's going to look like yet, but I think I'm just going to go through each character, show my process, and go over through my thoughts into making each design. I mean, I hope it works. I'm sure you'll let me know if you absolutely hate this format or type of video, but I do hope you like it. It's a lot of fun doing this, and I'm really excited to share my art more with you guys, so do let me know if this works for you. And to be clear, this obviously isn't me saying like, I can do it better, that I think any of the designs need to be changed or anything. Absolutely no disrespect intended towards any of the actual designers, it's just simply my take on it all. So yeah, let's just get into it. So where to start, right? Well, going into this, I had a pretty good idea of the kinds of designs I wanted to make, and the most important thing to me was treating this to some degree like an actual assignment. I wanted to imagine outfits that could ideally possibly be turned into dolls, as Monster High is primarily a fashion doll franchise after all. So what does that mean exactly? Well, it meant that I had to keep the designs visually interesting, but also relatively simple. Nothing too complex or with so many details that it just wouldn't work on a small scale or with a playline level budget. And I probably could have just pretended I lived in a perfect world where fashion dolls at the playline level could have an infinite amount of detail and different fabrics and working zippers and everything, but I'm a Virgo and I like to overthink and take things too seriously, so we'll start, of course, with our main girl here, Frankie. And I did record myself drawing, but this isn't a proper speed paint or anything. I just thought it would be nice to have something to show in the background while I talk. Maybe I'll do a full speed paint one day, but while recording these, I kept getting like really nervous, like someone was watching me draw the entire time, so I only recorded like the first 30 minutes or so. I also did want to get these done pretty quickly. I limited myself to about an hour to an hour and a half per character, so I did go pretty quickly, and they're not fully rendered or like masterpieces or anything. But if I was left to my own devices, it would have taken me weeks, and I still never would have been satisfied, so I also opted not to try to replicate the Monster High art style to just draw in my own, because I didn't want to clutter the screen with references or keep pausing to fix details to make sure they were style accurate. So for Frankie, I didn't want to change anything too radically about her basic appearance. The green skin, the stitches, the black and white striped hair, the bolts, they're all here to stay. There were a few things that I considered Frankie staples that I knew needed to be incorporated here though. First was of course her personal style, which I've always found to be a callback to the kind of Avril Lavigne-esque preppy punk schoolgirl moment. And this is seen in pretty much all of her signature dolls. Wave 1, School's Out, her Reboot doll, they're all some form of modified school uniform. So I knew I would need some plaid, some serious schoolgirl vibes with just a hint of edge. Not too much. Frankie's a very innocent character, so I don't think she would come out of the gate being like a total skater girl. But I think maybe for my version of Frankie, that's something that might happen over time. Like, as I was finishing this, I was wishing I incorporated more elements from like scene culture and skater fashion, which are super dated, obviously, but wouldn't it be funny if this Frankie's like getting all her style inspo from teen magazines, trying it first to fit in, and all of these magazines are actually from like 10 or 15 years ago? So if I was going to design future looks for her, I would probably ramp up that aspect a bit. Almost the opposite of what happened in the original run, where you kind of saw Frankie's style become more mature over time. And so for inspiration for her new signature look, I turned to the gold standard for teenage girl preppy fashion. Clueless. Is anyone surprised? But particularly the outfit where Alicia Silverstone wears this sheer blouse under a sweater vest. I love this outfit, and it's perfect for Frankie. A little cute, a little edgy, so I ended up kind of fusing that outfit with her school's outlook, and also adding in some elements of her Reboot outfit too, which, sue me, but I do actually like a lot. Which brings me to the second important Frankie-ism, asymmetry. A lot of Frankie's dolls frequently played around with clashing patterns, but never went quite as far with it as I would have liked. You know, she's still new to the world, she's figuring out her style, maybe she wants to wear 2 pairs of socks so she mismatches them. Maybe she can't choose between 2 different shirts, so she cuts them both in half and stitches them together. She's experimenting, and I wanted her to have an asymmetrical hairstyle too, so rather than pulling her hair out of her forehead like her dolls usually did, I partially pulled it up from the side and gave her a hair clip shaped like one of those electric clamp thingies. And another thing, which you won't really see until I show you the finished picture, were primary colors. A lot of Frankies had a very noticeable pop of color, and it was almost always 2 or 3 of the primary colors. And I live for a primary color scheme, so I was more than happy to incorporate that. Mostly through her accessories, as I wanted to keep her outfit more dark and muted to fit in with the signature Monster High style. For the color scheme, I mainly turned toward her signature and Haute Couture dolls. Her Reboot and School's Out dolls were a little too bright than what I wanted to go for, and of course it was going to be a lot of blues and greens and such. And here is the final look. Like I said, I didn't really want to change anything about her basic appearance. She's still very recognizably Frankie. I see a lot of redesigns where they go a little crazy with like stitches all over her face and mismatched skin tones and all that, which I do actually think is awesome, absolutely no shade to those people, but I think it would be pretty difficult to replicate on a doll, so I just kept her looking like good old Frankie. Like I said, the outfit is very much an amalgamation of past Frankie looks, but with some personal touches. Namely, the shirt, which is asymmetrical, half-patterned and half-sheer, a sweater vest with a studded belt, and a tiered tennis skirt. She has lightning bolt earrings, a wire clamp hair clip, and mismatched socks, and... okay, I have to admit, shoes are not my forte. I'm not good at designing shoes, I'm not good at drawing them. I'm really not proud of these, but it was good practice, and I think they work fine. I love a knee-high boot quite a lot, and I do especially love them on Frankie. But yeah, that's my Frankie Stein, and aside from the shoes, I'm pretty happy with how she came out. I think this would look so cute as a doll, but you tell me, would you buy this if it was a doll? Maybe one day I'll like redo this look, but in the more typical Monster High style, so you can imagine it more easily. But moving on, next we have Draculaura, who is one of my personal favorites, so of course I wanted to do her justice. And for Drac, I knew immediately what I wanted to do with her. I wanted to give her a very overtly Lolita-inspired silhouette, because I love Lolita fashion and I'm self-indulgent. And Draculaura's had a few Lolita-inspired outfits. You can see it pretty heavily in her School's Out doll, her Picture Day doll, somewhat her Reboot doll, and especially her Haute Couture doll. But for Drac herself, again, I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. Mainly all I did was put her twin tails up slightly higher because I think it's a little more cutesy. And that's definitely how I imagine this version of Draculaura, very cutesy, very girly, and I also think it would be fun if she was also, like, very antiquated. Maybe her idea of fun is, like, tea parties, or she's still a little boy crazy like she was in the original, but she tries to court her crushes in super old-fashioned ways, like signaling with her parasol or breaking out the folding fan and getting all upset when he doesn't have any idea what she's trying to do, which... maybe it's weird I'm basing her mannerisms as if she grew up in Victorian England, considering she's meant to be 1600 years old, but maybe this Drac is 160 years old? Would that be too controversial a change? Because I think that would make her fashion style make a lot more sense too. The silhouette of the dress I gave her was actually directly referenced from Blondie Locks from Ever After High, because I also consider her doll to be directly Lolita inspired, and I used her dress as a starting point, mainly because I considered it proof that Mattel could realistically make a dress with a classic Lolita silhouette. My first instinct was to go a more old school gothic Lolita route, but I just wasn't feeling it in my initial sketches. So I thought, why not go for more Sweet Lolita? Drac would probably love Sweet Lolita, and that immediately made me think of, okay, the angelic pretty Halloween dresses. Perfect. And that brought me to the Halloween Treats dress, and I knew immediately that was the dress. But I didn't want to copy it directly. This isn't Rainbow High after all. But I did want to use the structure of the bodice, particularly the Batwing styled collar and the placement of the bows. I did end up changing a few things from the sketch, as you'll see, because I noticed as I was coloring that the silhouette of the dress with the collar was very, very similar to her Reboot dress, which, no disrespect to Reboot Drac, but that's just not the vibes. Sorry. But yeah, again, I didn't want to load her dress up on small details, not just for reasons I've already talked about, but also because I wanted it overall to look more elegant. I'm going to add in a print, which you'll see when I show off the final look, but she probably has the least going on of the three, and that's fine. Though I do think maybe I could have given her more accessories or something. Like, why didn't I give her wrist cuffs? Oh well, we'll just pretend there were budget cuts. And here's the final look. Obviously, she's very pink, and by choice. Again, I'm very self-indulgent, but you'll notice some of the small changes I made, particularly in the sleeves, which I just decided to give her a fairly typical blouse in the end. I also gave her skirt a print around the bottom, again, a little inspired by Blondie's dress, but yeah, I just gave her some cute little coffins and some cute little bats. If I had more time, I might have done something a little more complex, but I still really like how this looks. I'm happy with her. Like the rest of her, I kept her makeup very pink. I gave her some earrings styled after cameos, which were pretty inspired by her picture day earrings, but obviously a little different. Some hair bows, some black OTK socks, a lace trim around the skirt, and again, the shoes, which I am a little more proud of than I am Frankie's shoes. I wanted to give her something just a little similar to Mary Jane's, and I like these. So, there's Draculaura. Again, would you buy her if she was a doll? I think I would, but it would be pretty bad if I said I wouldn't, huh? But let's move on. Next is Clawdeen, and you probably already know what I'm going to say. Her basic appearance stayed more or less the same. Clawdeen's already beautiful, no reason to change too much. I did want to give her braids though. I definitely want to see a bigger variety of hair textures in the new reboot, especially for Clawdeen. And I feel like that's definitely possible. There's a lot of Barbies with braids and textured hair now, like Brooklyn Barbie for instance, all of her dolls have braids. But Clawdeen, I can absolutely see drastically changing hairstyles all the time. I mean, all the girls changed hair lengths and colors like it was nothing, but I think Clawdeen's dolls could make for some really fun and interesting hairstyles. And that could be a fun part of her character, that she's always switching it up. Maybe it just grows so fast that she's able to cut it all off and then have like a full head of hair again to change up a week later. And that's Clawdeen, right? She's the fashion designer. So I definitely wanted her outfit to be the most contemporary and fashion forward. So I gave her a very different silhouette from the other two. I gave her pants rather than a skirt, and an outfit that overall was just slightly edgier. I wanted it to look like it was something she designed herself, but she's still an amateur. She doesn't have a whole lot of fancy fabrics or patterns or anything. She just has a bunch of hand-me-downs and old clothes that she can repurpose into new ones. And like with Frankie, there were a few things that I just consider Clawdeen staples that I knew I had to include. Mainly fur, which I included in the form of this stole she was holding, which I got the idea actually from the first photos of her Haunt Couture doll. I thought she was holding a stole rather than a coat, and I just thought it looked so cute. And I like it here quite a lot because it kind of makes her look like she has a tail. I also knew that she had to have animal print, and we'll see that when I show you the full look. And I also knew she needed gold jewelry too, that was a must. But as for her outfit, I wanted to give her the most modern silhouette of the three, so you look at her and immediately you know that she's the fashionista. So I gave her some high-waisted baggy pants and a leather bralette over a mesh shirt. Would that fly in any school's dress code? Absolutely not. But to be fair, her original outfit likely wouldn't have either. And looking at it now, I do wish I would have gone a little further with the accessories. If I do another one of these, I'm definitely going to give myself more time to just tweak details a little more, but that's okay. We're learning. I do think she perhaps needs about 3 or 4 more belts. But anyways, here's the full look. Obviously, I kept her primarily in purple, but I kept little pops of green in because she does love a pop of green. I gave her some cat eye sunglasses afterwards because I felt like she just needed an extra something. And I also gave her the most dramatic makeup of the three, because, obviously, she has the stole, leather top, mesh shirt underneath, a choker style to look like a collar, some fingerless gloves. Her pants are asymmetrical with the jaguar print on one side, because, again, I wanted her to look like she made these pants herself, and she's so proud of them. She knows this is a look. And the shoes, I'm actually a little proud of these. I got some practice in with the other two and felt confident in my shoe abilities for a little while. And these were actually inspired by... Have you ever seen Kira Kira Precure a la mode? Well, all their boots have cute little paws on the feet, and theirs look pretty silly, so I did tone it down a bit for Clawdeen here, but I think they're really cool. I don't know. But yeah, there's Clawdeen. Again, there are a few things I already want to change, some small things, just adding things here and there, but overall I am happy with it. And here's all three together. I think they make a pretty cute group. This was a lot of fun to do. I've always wanted to do like full Monster High redesigns, and every now and then I'll sketch out ideas, but I've never done a full redesign like these. And I'm really happy that I did. Even if this video doesn't do well, even if you guys don't like this video idea, I had fun doing it. It pushed me art-wise, it was great design practice, and this is what I love doing. You know, I used to design professionally, and I really miss that. So it makes me happy to be able to share this side of myself and my passion with you guys. So I do hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this in the future. Absolutely, I would love to do the rest of the characters, and maybe for other doll lines too. Like, I for sure want to redesign the Series 1 looks from Rainbow High, for instance. But absolutely comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you would do if you were in charge of a Monster High reboot, how you would design the characters, and be sure to like and subscribe for any future fashion doll content. Thank you!